Welcome back everybody. Today we're going to get into another cleaning and lubrication video for the Springfield XD series of pistols. This one here is an XDM, but it'll cover the XDs as well. And what we're going to do, like we do in all the cleaning videos, is sort of assume that you are a new shooter. This is your first pistol, you have no experience with firearms, no experience with cleaning and maintaining them, and go over how I do that. Of course, this is all based on what's in the manual, so I'm not going to drift from that. It's what they recommend to do, and we're going to show you exactly how to do it coming up next. Before I get into the actual cleaning, I want to show you what we're using here real quick. We have these tipped-in polymer tools, and I like these. You see them in a lot of my cleaning videos because they work well and they're relatively inexpensive. We'll put a link for this stuff down in the video description for you guys looking. But these ones are nice because they're not going to harm your pistol's finish. Some of the metal dental picks out there will scratch up and or really just wear out your pistol's finish. So this one, the melamine, is very durable, but some of those tools out there can scratch it, and with the polymer, you know you're safe and not going to damage your pistol's finish at all, so that's certainly nice. We have this little rod that we're going to use to go through the barrel. Now this one I believe is from a Glock off the top of my head, but one just like it comes with your Springfield pistol, so go ahead and use that. We also have a very high-tech toothbrush, an old one. I believe this one here is from Walmart. Of course, any toothbrush will work. The product that we're going to be using today to clean and lubricate the pistol is break-free CLP. Now these are in repurposed bottles because I get the ones that come in like a pint. Again, we'll put a link down below for that. And then I just put them in smaller bottles to make it easier to use. This one here is from like a body spray for my wife. Can't give you a link to that, I apologize. But this one here, they come in like a 3-pack of needle bottles. They're really, really nice to make sure that you're not just slobbering oil on there for no particular reason. Let you get in there and put it where you want it and not have to have it go everywhere else. And that's pretty much it. If anything else pops into my head while we're cleaning, I will let you guys know, but on to the cleaning. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure the pistol is clear. First, we're going to drop our magazine. We're going to set that off to the side because we're not going to need it for the rest of the review. Pull our slide to the rear, in fact, lock it for this purpose. And we're going to inspect our chamber. The chamber is clear. You can physically and visually check and ensure there's no magazine, which we do not have. At this point, we can rotate our lever, our takedown lever, up just like that, and release our slide, and it will come off the frame. We'll set the frame to the side for now. Pull out our recoil spring and guide rod, set that up there. And because this is a threaded barrel, we're going to have to actually take the thread protector off. If it's not a threaded barrel, you're just going to skip this step. And at that point, we're going to remove our barrel from the pistol. One thing I forgot to mention in the intro is that we are using some cut-up t-shirts to clean. You can use specialized gun patches if you want to. I've not found a need for them in all my years of gun cleaning, but if you guys want to, by all means, have at it. So with that being said, what we're going to do is take a little sprayer here for CLP. You want to make sure your pistol is angled down so that way you're not getting oil into your firing pin channel, which is this little part right here. You want to avoid that because that can eventually cause problems with light primer strikes, meaning your firing pin's not going all the way forward. Now on a Springfield pistol, the SD series, you do have an exposed little chamber right here. I'm going to try to avoid putting anything in there as well, but one of the benefits of that is it also allows oil to drain, so it's not as big a deal on these guns as it is some others, but still, you just want to kind of avoid it because there's no reason not to do it that way. Now we're going to put a spray of oil back here and one up front. And at this point, what I like to do is just take the toothbrush and just kind of work around everywhere that you can get to, including the face right here. And you just want to work up again with the slide oriented downward, so that way we're not shoving oil up in there. So just kind of work it all around, get it on all the surface. And one beautiful thing about a CLP type product like Break Free is that it both cleans, lubricates, and protects, and it's breaking down carbon. So all the carbon deposits that are on the slide, if you just let it sit there for a minute, are going to start breaking down. Now a note on sort of products to clean with. We're going to do another spray here on the barrel too. Just get a little bit of CLP on there, work it around with our fingers, and do the same thing with the brush. A note on other cleaners. So there's other cleaner and lubricant products out there. Most of them are pretty good. Really, as far as I know, I don't know of any bad oil-based ones with the exception of Rem oil. Don't recommend that. It's not terrible, I just don't recommend it. But some of the exotic ones out there, the natural ones, some of them work really well, some are actually pretty bad and cause malfunctions. So just do your research if you guys are doing that. Break Free's worked for a long time in the military, and there may be better out there at some of the functions, but it does work well. I've never had any issues with it, so I've really just never strayed. On the guide rod here, I'm just going to take a piece of t-shirt, put a little bit of CLP on there, and just wipe it down. And you can see there certainly is some carbon on there. We'll do the same there with the spring. Moving on to the barrel, we put a little bit of CLP on our piece of t-shirt, and we're just going to run it through with this little rod. Now, some of these you can thread right through there, and that actually works pretty well. Some of them you can't, so I'm going to pretend like you can't, just to sort of give you a universal kind of look at it. We're just going to push it through, and if it's tight, that's okay. And then on the other side, we're going to pull it out. Now, one thing I'm going to point out here while I'm pulling it out and getting this one out, this one here is a little bit tight. The patch was a little bit big, but certainly fine, as you guys can see, is that you want to just leave that barrel there, because the CLP is going to continue to break down the carbon in it, and we'll come back to that here in just a second. Onto our frame, I'm just going to spray right here on the locking block, and then a little bit here in the trigger mechanism. Again, one beauty of the CLP with the trigger mechanism is you don't have to lubricate anything in there if you just keep a light coat of CLP on there, which we're going to have on there in just a second. So just work it all around in the dust cover. You can rotate your takedown lever there as well to get both sides of it. Bring it back up. And again, just let that CLP continue to break down the carbon. We're going to move back to the slide. Now we're going to take our patch, or t-shirt in this case, and just use our pick to get down into all the surfaces we can. One point you want to make sure that you put an emphasis on is inside the rails here. So get in there, because carbon tends to sit in there, as you guys can see. And of course, that's one of the surfaces that's getting a lot of friction during the operation of the pistol. So you want to make sure that's cleaned out and doesn't have a lot of carbon in there. That's going to start to slow things down. Now, on the face here again, where your case sits and the primers are popping, there's going to be some carbon in there as well, as you can see. And I always like to sort of try to get under the extractor as much as we can here. So this is our extractor. If my camera will focus, if I put it right up in there, maybe it will. And there you go. So try to get up into there as much as we can. So what I'm going to do is actually just take the patch on the clean side and just work that with the pick. And just continue to go all the way around until it's as clean as you feel comfortable with. I mean, you're never going to get every piece of carbon out of there, so there comes a point where if you're OCD, you'll be here all night, but you definitely want to get the majority of it out of there. We're going to do the same thing to the outside of the barrel, except we don't need a tool, so just kind of wipe it down. If you have threads, go ahead and wipe those down as well. And you want to just kind of run it around the crown at least once. And you'll see why. You can see a little bit of black that came out there. So carbon tends to deposit right there on the crown. Just wipe it out. And we're also going to wipe in between the locking blocks here. Carbon likes to stick in there. And really just anywhere you can get to. The beauty of XD pistols is that they tend to be very easy to clean. Not a whole lot of small surfaces. So we're also going to want to make sure we get our feed ramp. Just kind of work that out. And then we're going to run some clean patches through it. We're going to take a dry patch and run it through and see just kind of how much carbon's in there. Push it all the way through and see what comes out the other end, I suppose. This one here actually looks pretty good. Now, again, one of the beauties of having the melanite finish in there, it tends to come out pretty clean and clean pretty easily. So you can see there, that one actually is very clean, much more so than I expected. So what I'm going to do now is just put a little bit of CLP on here, run that through, and that'll be it for the barrel. Now, hopefully my camera will pick it up a little bit. You can see the rifling in there, very clean, nothing on there, nothing obstructing it, no sort of chunks or anything like that, just clean rifling all the way around, and that's what you want to see. Here on the frame, we're just going to wipe down everything we can get to with our fingers, the big areas real quick. And one thing is, if you have a colored pistol like this one, it does show the carbon a little bit more. And once we get to everything we can't get to with can get to rather with our hand, we're just going to work it around with the tool, try and get into all the little crevices. Now, one word of caution for the new folks out there, or really the experienced folks as well, is that we don't want to force anything here. So these pistols are service type pistols. They can run being moderately dirty for a very long time. So the reason I point that out is as we move back here to the trigger components, there's simply no need, if you can't get to it with this cloth and your little pick, you don't need to jam anything in there or try to really like pull it out for every cleaning. Now, if you're a very, very high count pistol shooter, high round count pistol shooter, and you're putting, 5,000-10,000 rounds through it, then you want to pull your trigger system out and clean it. That's fine, but that's for another video, guys. For this video, it's just basic, field maintenance, and most folks, of course, aren't going to put that kind of round count through their pistols anyway, so most will never have to worry about that. So just like with the slide, we want to pay special attention here to the rail surfaces and make sure we get those nice and clean. Now we're going to move on to the lubrication portion. And one thing you'll notice on the barrel and a few other parts here I want to point out is the wear marks. So when you start to see wear marks on your gun, that's not a bad thing. What it is it's like, those are the friction points, and those are the points you want to focus on for your lubrication. So here we have them on the barrel, and we also have some there on the side. So I'm going to use my little needle oil bottle here just to put some on there. And that's a really thin strip of oil, and I'm going to work it around with my fingers. That's CLP all the way around. And one area we want to pay attention to as well is just a little drop here on the top of the barrel, because you can see that area is wearing. And if you look down into the slide, you can actually see the same thing. So I'm going to put a drop of oil right there on the slide, and we're going to put our barrel back in. And at this point, you see some wear marks here on the lugs, drop there, and right there. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to work that around with our fingers. Of course, if you don't do that, naturally it will work itself around. So I'm going to put a little drop here on my finger. Some of you guys may be concerned about lead or things like that, or the toxins in these chemicals. So if you are, go ahead and wear some gloves. I don't see anything wrong with that. I know it's a big sort of controversy out there. Some people really think everyone should, and that's fine. I have no issues with it. I don't. Maybe one day I'll switch. Who knows? And we're going to push our recoil spring and guide rod back in there, lock them down into place. And now there's sort of two schools of thought here on how to do the next part. So either you can put a drop of oil on each of the rail surfaces here, or you can do it in the slide. So we'll show you that portion. Right here, we're just going to run that down on the slide. Now, if you don't have a needle bottle like we have here to do that, very easily, you can take a bigger bottle and just put the drops here on the rails where you see those wear marks. So hopefully the camera will focus again for you guys so you guys can actually see the wear marks. Maybe not, but there they are, finally. So that's that. Now back here in the trigger group, I'm not going to put any additional oil other than what we got in there when we just sprayed in there to clean it around. And you can see the locking block on top actually has some wear marks right here. I'm going to put a real small little bit there and actually just kind of work that with my fingers. And that should be it. Now we're just going to reassemble the slide and the frame. Helps if you have it up in the right position. And we'll lock the slide to the rear, rotate our lever. Because this is a threaded barrel gun, we're going to put our thread protector back on there. And we're going to let the slide go home. Now at this point, that's pretty much it. Some of you guys will have dirt and such on the outside of your pistol. If you do, again, just a real light coat of CLP on one of your patches and just wipe that down all the way on the outside. If you guys have stuff in your frame that's really dirty, a good one for that I recommend is Simple Green. It tends to work really well. Particularly the Pro Series is very safe for all gun finishes. Of course, on the XD, not really a problem, but for other guns, maybe something to look at. Anyway, now we're just going to do a quick functions check. Make sure we depress our little safety back here. Rack the slide one time. Press and hold the trigger to the rear. So we're going to hold it. Run the action one time. Release. It should reset. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So hopefully that helped some of you guys out, the new owners out there, and some of you guys who just like to watch these videos for whatever reason, who are experienced pistol cleaners and lubricators. Hope it helped you guys out too. If you guys have any questions about what we did here in the video, by all means, post below down in the comment section. We'll try to help you out there. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I truly appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.